Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalrim, and every day I get people asking me at one point or another, in one question or another, Dalrim, how do you keep up high energy as a combat rogue? So I decided to make a video talking a bit about energy management, not just for combat rogues, but for all three specs of rogues, just to be covered in one single video, just to be the one-stop go video for any rogue wondering how to get better at managing energy. This is going to talk more about the philosophy behind it and what you should be doing. For the most part, the practice of it is learned simply through playing the game. So everything said in this video, you need to practice this in order to get good at. I can only just get you guys started with the general concept and tell you what you should be doing, but the practice and actual implementation is all up to you from there. So hopefully you guys will find this video useful. If you ever had questions about energy management for any of the three specs of rogue, let's get to it, and we'll start with combat. The challenges of playing a combat rogue is, well, really there's no challenge. I mean, it's combat. I'm joking, but realistically the only challenge you will get with combat rogue in terms of managing energy is learning how to save up for the 50 energy that it takes for sinister strikes, and learning how to use your energy properly in order to stack up the sinister strikes in order to get yourself into ramp up insight. So let me go over the mechanics that allow combat rogues to dish out a lot of damage and manage energy in order to help you guys get better at combat rogues. The first thing we notice about combat is the fact that it has higher energy regeneration than the other two specs. The difference isn't major, but it is slightly higher. Combat rogues benefit from haste because haste increases your energy regen, while you do not stack haste in PvP because mastery ends up ultimately being a way better stat. Haste does help you get a little bit more energy regen, and when choosing pieces of gear for conquest pieces, if they do have haste and they don't have any other good stats, haste ends up being the better option compared to critical strike or multi-strike. Overall, when playing combat, just know that at all times you have slightly higher energy regen, which also accounts for the other ways combat rogue has in terms of managing energy. One of the major cooldowns that combat rogues get to play with is Adrenaline Rush, which is a 3-minute cooldown that increases your energy regeneration rate by 100, increases your attack speed by 20, and reduces the global cooldown of most of your abilities by 0.2 seconds. This ability is great because it allows combat rogues to get as many sinister strikes out there as possible, ultimately advancing you into insight, and it's probably the best cooldown in order to ramp up into your burst. Very effective in an opener when you're trying to make sure to get as many sinister strikes out in order to get into moderate or even red insight. Combat Rogue's passive Combat Potency allows you to get 5% more haste from all stat sources, and your offhand attacks have a chance to generate 15 energy. Slower weapons have a higher chance. So this tells us a couple things. One, have a slow weapon in your offhand. Sword, mace, fist, axe, the damage doesn't make a difference, it's all aesthetic. Second, stay on your target and keep auto-attacking them. Every time you auto-attack with an offhand weapon, you have a chance to get 15 energy. This also procs off of your mastery hits, so it reinforces the idea of always be touching somebody. Pet, totem, player, healer, anybody, whether you're trying to kill them or trying to just score some free energy off of them. Now we get to move on into Assassination Rogue, which doesn't have that many mechanics of energy regeneration like a combat rogue, but it does introduce us to the idea of pulling energy. And the best way to introduce you guys to the idea of pulling energy is with the acronym DONT, as in don't spam energy. Pulling energy is a state where you basically don't press any of your buttons to consume energy. You basically are waiting to regenerate energy. During that time, just keep auto-attacking whatever you're trying to auto-attack, stay on your target, but simply don't hit your buttons if there's no purpose for it. So let's take a look at Assassination and see how pulling energy and whatever mechanics it has for energy regen work for the spec. Naturally, Assassination rogues come with 20 extra energy than any of the three rogue specs. So just keep that in mind, just like with a combat rogue, how much energy you have to work with, especially on an opener, and how much energy you can store next time you want to go burst. The only way Assassination has of manual energy regeneration is through Rupture Ticks, which reads down below in the text. While you have poisoned your target, this damage deals 3,822 additional nature damage and grants you 10 energy. You gain additional energy if your target dies with Rupture active. This tells us a few different things about Assassination. First of all, put Rupture on as many targets as you can, maybe between 2 or 3, depending on a battleground or arena situation. Make sure that those targets also have some sort of poison on them in order to gain 10 extra energy per tick, And throwing Rupture onto a target that's about to die is also useful, while a lot of people will find throwing a damage over time ability that costs comp points and energy a waste. With Rupture you actually get energy back out of it, so it's a decent investment. So what you should take out of this is put Rupture on 1/1 target if available, but make sure to have Rupture running on your target whoever you are training down. So how can energy pooling benefit Assassination Rogue? In my experience, I found that Assassination Rogue has a lot of mini setups similar to that of Subtlety, but there are a lot more of them and they only require comp points and energy. Usually as Assass, I like to open up on my target, establish a Rupture for the consistent energy regen, build up 5 or 4 comp points on my target, and then wait for my energy to come back. It is much more powerful for you to be able to use an Envenom and then lead that into 2 Mutilates, into maybe another Envenom or even a Kidney Shot to shut down your target and lock them down. This way, by allowing yourself to pull energy, you have a lot more of a setup as Assassination, which basically causes you to get mini setups on your target, which end up doing a lot of damage. If you don't believe me, just go out in a battleground as Assassination Rogue, build up 5 comp points, a full energy bar, throw your target in the Kidney, mutilate, Envenom, mutilate, and maybe throw in a free dispatch in there. Then come back and tell me what you thought. And then we have Subtlety, which is one of the harder specs of any specs in a game to learn because it is really manual. All the control comes from the player, and the player affects how the class is even played. You don't have abilities such as Envenom or Killing Spree that deal direct increased damage to a target. But as a Subtlety Rogue, you can line up damage whenever you want to at your own leisure. Subtlety is the kind of spec where the class doesn't carry itself. The spec of Subtlety doesn't make Rogue amazing, but rather the player and the way they play Subtlety is what makes Rogues amazing. You have so much direct control with the spec and so many utilities that it really all comes down to how you personally use them, which makes the spec one of the hardest to master. So let's get onto mechanics of how Subtlety can pull energy and gain combo points out of doing nothing. The main way that Subtlety Rogues regen energy is through keep up of Slice and Dice. Every 2 seconds, Slice and Dice will grant you 8 energy. This way you are able to generate energy back with patience. The more you wait, the more you allow Slice and Dice to tick, and the better upkeep you have of Slice and Dice, the more energy you will get and the more energy you can use in order to dish out some massive burst. Now you might have heard me say earlier that Subtlety does not need to dish out damage in order to generate comp points, and that is due to the passive of Honor Among Thieves, which reads critical hits in combat by you or your party or raid members, grants you a combo point, but no more often than once every 2 seconds. So this tells us that Subtlety is that you don't need to spam out your energy. Don't spam Hemorrhage, don't spam backstabs, don't spam your abilities, as you will passively generate combo points. So hold on to your energy and try to keep it capped off until you go in for the burst. If you want more proof that Subtlety is all about pulling energy, then let's take a look at Empowered Phantom Knives, which is a value ability. Phantom Knives now generates a combo point for each target that it hits. For 35 energy, potentially you could regen yourself 5 full combo points. So this further enforces the ability on Subtlety in order to get the most value out of their combo points and value out of their abilities by simply not spending as much energy as it needs to. Hold on to your energy, keep it capped off until you're ready for the burst. And last thing to talk about Subtlety is energy pooling. It is super important that you pull energy, don't spend it unless you're ready for the burst, whether it be in the opener or with Shadow Dance. Your abilities to lock down a target of Cheap Shot and Garrote each cost 45 energy, so you need a full energy bar in order to make this burst happen. So simply just try not to spend energy. As a last note, all 3 rogue specs have an access to Glyph of Energy, which increases your maximum energy by 20, which means more energy during burst once you're done energy pulling, and overall more energy to work with. So go ahead and pick yourself one of those over at the auction house. So in today's video we took a look at all the class-based abilities that allow you to manage your energy a little bit better. Some of them are passives, some of them are active abilities, some of them are resources you have to keep up, but most of them grant you a unique playstyle for each spec of rogue. We learned a bit about energy pooling, which can be applied to combat rogues as well as Assassination or Subtlety, but I feel like due to combat rogues' ramp up nature and the need to spam out abilities, and fairly simple way of energy regen, energy pooling is not as much of a concern, but definitely should be looked into when taken into practice. Remember, everything we talked about today is simply theories and general concepts. Now all you have to do is take all this and find a way to apply all this information I taught you in the video in practice in PvP. So go ahead, queue for a battleground, go ahead, queue for a skirmish, and then try to manage your energy as best you can. My name is thtough, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.